So guys, welcome back to my new channel. Today video is very interesting. Watch full video and comment below.
In the middle of an alien war zone, where strength meant everything, kindness was treated like a disease, and the human nurse they laughed at the most became the only person who could save the Warlord's son. The planet Carinate had been at war for almost 20 years. Smoke covered the skies. Massive warships floated above ruined cities. And everywhere you looked, there were soldiers. The Coronians were one of the most feared alien races in the galaxy. Tall, heavily armored, born for combat. They respected only one thing: power. Mercy was weakness. Compassion was failure. And emotions were considered dangerous. That's why nobody understood why humans sent nurses into a battlefield instead of more soldiers. Especially people like Amelia Hart, a quiet human nurse assigned to the Central Military Hospital near the front lines. She wasn't intimidating. She didn't carry weapons. And she spent more time comforting patients than following strict military procedure. The alien soldiers mocked her constantly. She speaks softly like a child. She smiles too much. She treats warriors like frightened babies. Amelia heard every insult, but she never argued. Every day she cleaned wounds, stayed beside dying soldiers, and held the hands of warriors nobody else cared about, even the ones who insulted her. One night, everything changed. Heavy alarms suddenly echoed through the military base. A convoy had arrived, and not just any convoy. The Supreme Warlord himself had returned from battle. General Varric, the most feared commander in the Coronian Empire, a giant covered in black battle armor, known for destroying entire planets without mercy. But tonight, he looked terrified. In his arms was his young son, Prince Kale. The child's body twitched violently as glowing blue veins spread across his skin. Neural collapse, one medtech whispered. The room instantly became tense. It was one of the deadliest conditions known in the galaxy. The brain slowly overloaded itself until the body completely shut down. Even advanced alien technology struggled to stop it. Medical drones surrounded Kale immediately. Machines injected fluids. Scanners flashed constantly. Emergency systems activated. But nothing worked. Kale's heartbeat kept dropping. The medtechs panicked. "We're losing him. His neural activity is destabilizing." General Varric grabbed one of the doctors by the throat. "Save my son." Fear filled the room. Nobody knew what to do. And in the corner, Amelia quietly watched the child struggling to breathe. Then she noticed something strange. Kale wasn't reacting to medicine, but every time someone shouted or moved too aggressively, his condition got worse. Amelia slowly stepped forward. The medtechs immediately protested. "Human, stay back. You are not qualified for this." But Amelia ignored them. She walked carefully to the child's bedside and lowered her voice. "Hey, it's okay." Kale's shaking slowed slightly. The room froze. Amelia looked at the monitors, then at the terrified father standing nearby. When was the last time he slept? Varric looked confused. "What? How long has he been under combat conditioning?" Silence. Then one doctor answered quietly. "Since early childhood." Amelia's expression changed. "This isn't just neural collapse. His nervous system is exhausted." Nobody understood what she meant. The alien doctors relied on machines for everything. But Amelia noticed something they didn't. Kale wasn't only in pain. He was terrified. Amelia slowly sat beside the bed. She dimmed the lights, lowered the noise levels, and gently held the child's trembling hand. The medtechs stared at her like she was insane. "That will not solve anything." But Amelia stayed calm. "It might." For hours, while the war outside continued, the human nurse simply stayed beside him. She spoke softly, helped him breathe slowly, kept his body relaxed whenever the pain returned. No machines, no advanced weapons, just patience and care. At first, General Varric watched in anger, then confusion, then silence, because slowly, Prince Kale's heartbeat stabilized. The violent shaking stopped, and for the first time in hours, the child finally fell asleep. The entire medical room went quiet. One medtech stared at the monitor in disbelief. "Neural activity stabilizing." Another whispered, "That's impossible." General Varric slowly walked toward Amelia. The terrifying warlord who made entire armies shake in fear now looked like a helpless father. "You saved him." Amelia looked exhausted. "He didn't need more pain. He needed to feel safe. Varric stared at his sleeping son for a long moment, then quietly asked, "In your world, softness is considered strength?" Amelia smiled faintly. "Sometimes, it's the strongest thing a person can have." For the first time in his life, the warlord had no answer. Days later, Prince Kale fully recovered, and something unexpected happened across the Coronian Empire. The soldiers stopped mocking the human nurse, because the story spread everywhere. The terrifying warlord who conquered planets couldn't save his own son, but a soft-spoken human nurse could. And slowly, an entire alien culture began to understand something they had ignored for centuries. Kindness wasn't weakness. Sometimes, it was survival.
Thanks for watching this video. For more videos, subscribe to my channel.
After Prince Kale recovered, everyone thought the story was over. They were wrong, because 3 weeks later, the most feared warlord in the galaxy returned to the human nurse's room alone. The military hospital was unusually quiet that night. Rain slammed against the metal walls of Carinate while distant explosions echoed across the horizon. Amelia was organizing medical supplies when the automatic door slowly opened. General Varric stepped inside. Without soldiers, without armor, without weapons. For the first time, he looked tired. Amelia looked surprised. "Prince Kale is doing well now." Varric nodded slowly. "He speaks of you constantly." There was an awkward silence. The giant alien warlord looked around the small room. Simple lights, tiny plants near the window, old Earth music playing quietly in the background. Everything about the room felt peaceful, completely different from the brutal world outside. Finally, Varric spoke again. "My son asked me something yesterday." Amelia waited quietly. "He asked why humans comfort the weak instead of abandoning them." Amelia smiled faintly. "And what did you tell him?" Varric stayed silent for several seconds. Then he admitted something he had probably never admitted to anyone before. "I had no answer." That sentence alone felt impossible coming from someone like him. This was the same warlord who once executed commanders for showing fear. And now, he was sitting in silence inside a human nurse's office asking questions about kindness. Suddenly alarms exploded across the base again. Red warning lights flooded the hallway. A soldier's voice shouted through the speakers. "Emergency evacuation. Incoming orbital strike." The entire hospital instantly fell into chaos. Doctors rushed through corridors. Patients screamed. Explosions shook the building. Amelia immediately grabbed medical kits. "We need to move the injured now." But before they could leave, another explosion hit nearby. The power failed instantly. Half the hospital collapsed into darkness. Dust filled the air. People panicked everywhere. And then, the emergency doors sealed shut automatically, trapping dozens of wounded soldiers inside the lower medical wing. One officer shouted in fear, "The fire is spreading. We can't reach them." The alien soldiers froze, because the lower wing was already collapsing. Anyone who went down there might never come back. Then Amelia grabbed a flashlight and started walking toward the smoke-filled corridor. Varric grabbed her arm instantly. "You will die down there." Amelia looked back at him calmly. "They will die if nobody goes." Without waiting for permission, the human nurse disappeared into the burning hallway. For the first time in years, General Varric felt fear again. Not fear of war, not fear of enemies, fear of losing someone good. Inside the lower medical wing, smoke covered everything. Metal beams hung from the ceiling. Emergency sparks flashed across the walls. Amelia moved through the chaos, helping injured soldiers stand one by one. Some were the same warriors who once mocked her for being too soft. Now they looked at her like she was the only safe thing left in the universe. One young soldier grabbed her sleeve weakly. "Why are you helping us?" Amelia answered while lifting debris off him. "Because that's my job." Another explosion shook the corridor. The ceiling started collapsing. Outside the fire zone, officers desperately tried to reopen the sealed doors. Nothing worked. Then suddenly, General Varric stepped forward. "Move aside." The soldiers backed away immediately. The giant warlord slowly removed the heavy black armor from his shoulders. Then, with pure force, he slammed his hands into the emergency blast door. Metal screamed loudly. Everyone stared in shock. Again, 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 until finally, the entire door ripped open. Smoke burst outward, and through the fire, Amelia appeared carrying an injured alien child in her arms. Behind her, Dozens of wounded soldiers followed. Alive, the hallway fell completely silent. General Varek stared at the human nurse covered in ash and burns. "You went back for them?" Amelia looked confused. "Of course I did." The warlord slowly looked around at the survivors. Warriors, children, medics, people his empire once considered expendable. And for the first time in his life, General Varek understood something terrifying. Real strength wasn't domination. It wasn't fear. It wasn't power. Real strength was choosing to protect others even when nobody forced you to. That night changed the Coronian Empire forever. Months later, military training across the empire included something completely new. Not combat lessons. Not torture resistance. Human empathy studies. And at the center of it all was a simple human nurse who proved that kindness could survive even in the middle of war.